That she said African Americans were giving their children. I said, excuse me, what do you mean? She said, you know these names like Khadijah and Shaniqua, and she said, aren't these strange names? And I said, no, I don't think they're strange. And then I said, let me explain to you. My generation, you know, after we had become very much aware of who we were in this place called America, gave our children actually African names. But this generation of people having children now are giving their children names, I said, that have that syllabic, that amount of syllables also to that syllabic kind of beat to it, but they're completely African-American, Afro-American names with an African tinge to it. And she said, oh, is that what that is? She said, don't you think that it's sort of strange and funny? And I said, and not at all. I said, especially when a child comes up to me and says, my name is Shaniqua, I said, oh, what a wonderful, beautiful name. And that child just changes before you. So I did a poem called, This Is Not a Small Voice. This is not a small voice you hear. This is a large voice coming out of these cities. This is the voice of Latanya, Khadijah, Shaniqua. This is the voice of Antoine, Darryl, Shaquille, running over waters, navigating the hallways of our schools, spilling out on the corners of our cities, and no epitaphs spilled out of their river mouths. This is not a small love you hear. This is a large love, a passion for kissing learning on his face. This is a love that crowns the feet with hands, that nourishes, conceives, feels the water sails, mends the children, folds it inside our history, where they toast more than the flesh, where they suck the bones of their alphabet and spit out closed vowels. This is a love colored with iron and lace. This is a love initial black genius. This is not a small voice you hear. That's the piece that I did. And I also said that I would do a piece that I had done for Brother Bill Cosby, but I'd rather, if you would allow me to do that, talk about on the same level, since we basically are talking about with this foundation, we're talking about teaching our children peace. Is that not so? Yes. Peace. Can you say peace? Peace. Can you really say peace? Peace. Can you walk peace? Yes. Can you do peace? Yes. You see, you got to do peace. You got to have peace in your heart, you see. We have to teach our children about peace, do we not? And so one of the things when I was asked to have a mural done here in a city called Philadelphia, I suggested to the mural arts, why don't we do a peace mural? Why don't we do a peace mural in the city of Philadelphia? Why don't we initial peace on our children's eyes and their hands and their knees and their feet and their toe jam, you know, all over them? Why don't we assist initial peace in the city of Philadelphia? This city And so one of the things we're doing then is called Peace is a Haku Song. And I called some of my friends. I called Sister Toni Morrison, Sister Maya Angelou, and Sister Alice Walker. I said, would you send me 3 lines about peace? And they sent me many lines about peace. And we met yesterday about all the ones we have to choose from that they sent. What is it about? Because people all over this earth understand the need for us to celebrate peace and make our children understand what peace is. And I chose the Haku form because the Haku form has no greed in it. It has no violence. It has no fact. It is a peace. It is a peace that celebrates this thing called peace. And so one of the things, any of you are interested in it at all, we're going to have, I was 2 weeks ago in a place called New York City, and Carmen and I were there to speak on what's going on, Marvin Gaye's fantastic piece of music that he did more than 50 years ago. And they wanted us to tell what were we doing 50 years ago. And we did that. And so Carmen kind of picked me up and said, oh, Sister Sonia, it's so good seeing you. You know, you've influenced us so much. And of course, you know, coming from New York and Philadelphia, I said without missing a beat, my dear brother, would you send us 3 lines about peace for our mural in a place called Philadelphia? And that's what it's done. Odine Pope did some chords of peace. Tristan McBride is singing some chords of peace. You know, Talib and Def are singing a short rap on peace. What are we asking for? We're asking for a cross-generational thing for our children to